I'm a little bit scared and aroused by you, Mad Lib. Just so you know. All right, so the first time was also my first time by Van Wilde. I want to tell you a story about the first woman I ever dated and the embarrassing sex that we had. I won't be using her real name, of course, so I will refer to her with a nom de plume consisting of an Asian city or country and a cat animal. For instance, Taipei kitten. Good, you got it, okay. When I was 19, I met China Garfield on the internet, and we began dating. Oh, we were a perfect match. True lovers. We had the same interests, sensibilities, and we finished each other's sandwiches. Our only issue was I lived in fucking Texas and she lived in fucking Pennsylvania, and for so long there wasn't any actual fucking. Months in, our schedules and bank accounts allowed a visit. I flew her into Texas so she could stay with me for a few days to spend some quality time alone together. What? Don't speak what I'm speaking. Alone together in a house that I shared with my mother and my father and my brother, the Chinese foreign exchange student and the Norwegian foreign exchange student. At this point, I was a virgin. I was a virgin to everything. I'd never kissed a girl. I'd never had sex with a girl. I'd never even held hands with a girl, except for this one time in middle school theater class where I got to hold hands with Veronica, whom I was badly in love with. And I got my hand sweat all over her precious, perfect hand, but never mind, it's fine. And now a woman was coming across the country to sex me and be sexed by me. Shanghai Tiger was not a virgin. And I told her before rather cleverly that I wasn't either. In fact, I told her that I had been with 9 partners for her, and she told me that she was so excited to be with someone more sexually experienced than her. Oh, man. I picked her up from the airport late at night. We drove back to my home, and we went to my room and took our clothes off. We kissed. We put each other's parts in each other's mouths, and we began to make love. I turned Bangkok Pussycat around and assumed the Dothraki position. And that's when my mother walked into the room. My first time inside a woman, and my mom gets to be there for it. In the front row, in the splash zone. I did what any sensible person would do. I grabbed the blankets and I threw them over Hong Kong Puma. Still with her butt against my pelvis, still with her svelte cave wrapping around me to hide her from my mother. Oh, I looked up, met the gaze of my mother, felt the high tide of shame crash against me, and for some reason became so much harder. It does happen. It's weird, isn't it? My mother said, Van, I need you to move the car. Japan long hair burst out laughing and flopped off of me onto the bed, unable to control herself. Deep in the wading pool of embarrassment, I was now fully exposed, on my knees with my bright red and soggy member exposed, babbling incoherently about moving the car. The goddamn minute, Mom! Nowadays, Doggy style is my favorite position to be walked in on. Once someone has begun walking in on you, there's nothing you can do to magically make them think you aren't worshiping the unholy altar of flesh, so you may as well be plowing it out, just like the Dothraki. At the very least, your walker inner honor will appreciate you and your partner are having a great time, and at the very most, you can make eye contact to assert your dominance. Missionary is my second favorite position to be walked in on because it reveals that I have a sensitive, passionate side. Bangladesh Wildcat and I continue to see each other traveling to and from our respective families, homes, and banging it out. Over a period of 2 years, we were walked in on constantly. I know. Between my mother barging in, literally slipping on freshly used condoms, and Mongolia Lynx's mother catching us 69ing in the car we borrowed. We joined a weird version of the Mile High Club, but instead of having airborne sex, our moms were bearing witness to our coital congress. I know. At the end of my first trip to see India cheetah in fucking Pennsylvania, we decided to have a sex date night. We dressed up. She wore leggings with garters and I wore a kinky tie. We knew this would be our last night together for a long time, so we made marathon love. We exhausted every position our young vanilla minds could imagine, and we played all the four. By the way, the room I was staying in to visit Kyoto Leopard was directly above the room her mother sleeps in. Singapore Ocelot and I choked each other, rode each other, spanked, slammed, and screwed each other. At the end of the sex, we were thrashing our genitals into each other with her on top, trying our best not to scream, but also still actually screaming. My sound is better, David. We couldn't help it. Bacchus had taken over. Our bodies were just vessels for lust, vessels that were balling hard and fast on an antique bed. Our vessels balled too hard and we climaxed and the bed broke, cracking loudly. In the morning, South Korea Bobcat and I were eating cereal when her mom walked in to speak to us, and she looked at both of us and she smiled. She said, "Well, I guess my daughter's a woman now." There was pride in her voice. My dick had made North Korea Drag Ra's mom proud. And I was proud too. Somehow, Taipei Kitten and I had sex so good, her mother came to commend us. I was proud and entirely washed in shame. The shame of a dozen Joe Paternos. And in the end, there was an end. Szechuan Minx and I wound up breaking up, and my sex has been Walker Inner Honor free since. She had the honor and the privilege of being my only sex shame partner. Although I guess we also share that with our mothers. It's weird to think that the only times my mother has seen my penis as an adult, it was inside and coming out of a very specific woman.